I'm called Paul Spooner and I make automata, which is a word I don't approve of very much, but it means mechanical people and animals and animated toys, really. I think toys is a better term than automata, because that sounds as if they're going to be rather technically wonderful, and they're technically okay, I think. And I've been doing it since 1979, whatever that is. It's a very long time. So I should be good at it, but I'm constantly finding myself not that good at it. But that's good, because I keep trying to do new things, but they're all the same in a funny sort of way. 1966 I first went to art school, and at that time there was quite a lot of life drawing and proper art being done, but there was a sort of movement away in the 60s from proper art, people doing real paintings and painting real people and real things, to abstract and non-figurative things. And I was really entranced by the idea that I could make machines rather than go to all the difficulty of, learning to draw. And I went to Cardiff Art College, where there wasn't any proper art at all. It was all to do with machining, all to do with a kind of, as if art was some kind of engineering practice. What I did was make mechanical jokes. I made a machine that wrote Picasso's signature. It's a kind of biting comment on the sort of commodification of art and the fact that Picasso could, just sign a paper and it was worth a lot of money. And I made basically a fruit machine, but with words. I did really well at art school. Everybody thought it was really clever and brilliant. And then I left art school and became a school teacher. School teaching's hard, and I wasn't very good at it. And so I became a lorry driver and worked with some friends down here in Cornwall. We came down to Cornwall in a sort of bid to do something else, got out of school teaching. My wife is a weaver, and I was interested in making looms and weaving equipment, so I did, I kept my hand in and got a toolkit and stuff. But eventually, after quite a lot of lorry driving, I found out that Peter Markey, who used to live in Falmouth, also made beautiful little mechanical things, mostly to do with, they were mostly wave machines, and they were these beautiful movements like that with little boats and sailors, and very exciting and prettily painted things. And he was also a lovely man, and I was very much taken with him, and you'd see it would pop up on local TV, and they looked really lovely, Peter's things, and so I thought I'll have a go at that sort of thing. And at the time also, Sue Jackson had a shop in Falmouth High Street called Cabaret, where she sold mostly kind of craft items, knitted things, pottery, but she also sold Peter Markey's things. We'd had a child by then, and I was making toys for him, and I took some down to the shop and they sold, and then I sort of branched out into making mechanical things. And I think the first thing I made was Anubis, the Egyptian god of the dead. You cranked a handle and Anubis would draw a sausage on a piece of paper, because Anubis was the god of mummification and in charge of all sort of rituals of death and so on. And sausage is, obviously, it's something dead, and it's preserved. So I then made a lot of Anubises, Anubis doing press-ups and Anubis riding a camel and various things, and sold them in the shop, and they went really well. Sue then decided that she was bored with being in Falmouth, because the place shut down in the winter, and rented a shop in Flower Market in Covent Garden. My public then sort of accreted around that, and people all over the place were interested, and I thought, well, that's it, I'm sorted doing this now, and that's sort of where I'm at, really. The shop shut because it was too expensive to run it, but it's virtual and it's still is still sort of online, and they have travelling exhibitions and things, but I'm still associated with cabaret mechanical theatre. That's it. I think that's a story of my life pretty well. I've got two sons, and two sons and a wife, and no pets except for silverfish. You can knock an awful lot of stuff over if you're not careful. This is called an allegory of love, and I thought of it while my two boys and Sue and I were watching Neighbours on the telly, because you had to in those days. And the storyline was always boy's in love with girl, girl falls out of love with boy, and then girl wants boy back again, then boy falls out of love with girl, and it's like banging a nail that's always twisting out of the way. Very often they have little stories on them, so that you know it enhances your enjoyment of the thing. This one says freedom, and it says after a lifetime of selfless service, the average employee can look forward to a long and rewarding retirement. You'll notice he hasn't got a cage, but he's still not leaving his perch, because he's habituated to his life of whatever it was he was doing. Some people say that it's darkly humorous, but I'm not sure. There is something grimly humorous about everything, even the most terrible things. I go to a lot of funerals, being my age, and there's always a time afterwards when people are laughing and joking. I mean, in a respectful way, because they're remembering the dead person's life, and if you were lucky, the dead person was fun and and worth going to the funeral of. If you're witnessing something, there has to be some kind of point at which you understand the comedy and tragedy. Well, I do like wood. I like the smell of wood, and the fact that you can sometimes get wood for nothing as well, because a lot of the things I make are made out of old furniture that I say it's dead people's furniture. People have been known to give me wardrobes and things because they've tried to sell them when somebody's died, and they've had to deal with their furniture, and nobody wants to buy old brown wardrobes and things, so I get them, and sometimes they're made of very good stuff. There's a new house going on up the hill, and I've been the beneficiary of lots of stuff that they've chucked out, including pallets. The little boys, they want a games room up here, and ensuite rooms, one each, two boys. But it's just resting there like a big stretcher. Oh, they want a slide as well, but a slide down there would be a serious slide. I've been asked before what my favourite tool was, and I said it was a 3-jaw chuck on my lathe. Sorry, a 4-jaw chuck on the lathe, because you can put a square thing in, and it holds a square thing in and it makes it round. But my brother died recently, so now my favourite tool is one that he stole from Pan Am, because he was an aircraft engineer, and it's a snap-on centre punch. Very nice and very long for a centre punch, and it's got his initials scratched onto it, but I know it used to belong to somebody else. That is Pan Am, now a defunct airline. But this thing, this is an organ. You have this box here is pressurised, so that nothing can escape out of the box unless there's a hole in that piece of paper. And each of the holes represents a note. There's 20 notes, and when there's a hole, the air gets through the hole into the relevant pipe and sounds the note. And it's called a demoiselle, and so it's all various different types and degrees of woman. So Virgin Mary at the top, who is feeding the baby Jesus by means of a pneumatic device, and then there's 2 harpies here. And then there's Picasso's Demoiselle d'Avignon here, Manet's Olympia, Mrs. Thatcher there, Joan of Arc there, a Ron Fuller. Ron Fuller's in the same business as me. They're both Ron Fuller and Peter Markey. That's the sort of thing that Ron makes, and that's the sort of thing that Peter makes. I think, oh, and there's the Venus of Willendorf, one of the oldest representatives of, he knows, it works wirelessly, so I can go here and press a button and it starts working. Alright. Oh, it hasn't been played for a bit, needs straightening out. Get me out of the way. Yeah, it's a little bit out of condition because of not being used enough.